Hello and welcome to livealittlehigher.com. This coming Friday night we will be ushering in Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the year. Why is Yom Kippur the holiest day of the year? It is so holy that Yom Kippur even takes precedence over Shabbat. It's the only fast in the whole year that if it falls on Shabbat, we fast and we don't celebrate Shabbat. It is the only day of the year in which we become angels. This is a day in which we get rid of all our material needs. We don't eat, we don't wear leather shoes, we don't bathe, we don't anoint ourselves, we don't have marital relationships, and we try to get separate from the material world and immerse into 26 hours of spirituality. It feels so sacred because this is the only day of the year in which we are able to tap into a part of us that we can't tap the rest of the year, and that's called our Yehida. That is a part of our soul that is up in heaven with God, that is untouchable. It's the essence of ourselves, it's the true self, it's an emanation of God, and it never comes down here, and it's pure and holy, and it has never sinned. And we feel sacred because we are able to experience this part of ourselves called the Yehida, which is really our true self, who we really are. And this is why in these 10 days in which we're right now, between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, the 10 days of teshuvah is 10 days in which we are trying to get closer to God, and we're trying to make amends, we're trying to clean our slate, ask forgiveness from God from anything that we have done to Him, and ask forgiveness from other people if we have offended them or hurt them in any way. It's very important to do it. Also, in these days, we try to be more religious than the normal. People sometimes who never keep anything, you will see that on these days they will only eat kosher food, or they will only drink milk that is Halav Israel, which is milk that is checked by a Jew when it's milked, and the whole process. And they do extra things. They give more tzedakah than normal. They're very careful with what they're saying. They try not to judge people because the books are open up there. They're judging all of us right now, and we're very careful. And you would ask, aren't we being hypocritical here? Why the rest of the year I'm not eating kosher and I'm not doing all these things, and now these 10 days I'm extra careful? Am I not being a hypocrite? And their answer is no, you're not being a hypocrite, because in reality you're being your true self. You're being who you really are. The rest of the year you're a hypocrite. So the Yehida is the oneness, it's the essence of ourselves, which is connected to the essence of God. It's one with God. And it represents the inner unity of our souls. And it transcends all fragmentations or divisions. So everything that is holy is union. It's unity. And everything that is unholy is fragmentation, division, when people are fighting, when they're divisive. This is unholy. So if you want to know if you live in a holy way or not in a holy way, look at your life. Look if you're a person who's always bringing people together, who's trying to make things be together, you're making unions in your life, you're good with your wife, you're good with your husband, you're good with your kids, you're good with your parents. If you're a person that is of peace, is a peaceful person who is trying to bring holiness and unity to the world, then you're a person that lives in a holy way. But if you're a person who's always fighting with others and is divisive and is trying to separate people, then this is not the holy way to live. So in this day, the 10th of Tishrei, is the day in which we bring unity to the world, because we're all one. In the shul that day, every Jew is fasting, we're all wearing white, nobody is richer than the other, we're all the same, and it's a day in which we all feel that we have something in common, and in that way we're all pleading to God, to our Father in heaven, our Avinu Malkeinu, that He should have mercy on us and seal us in the world, in the book of life for the rest of the year. And this emerges on the 10th of Tishrei. And from Hashem's perspective, from where He is, we're all one. There's no divisiveness. But in this world, it is created in a certain way that you are you and I am I. And the table is a table and the chair is a chair. So we need to have a certain type of divisiveness in this world to be able to fulfill the purpose for which we were created. But we should never forget that we really come from the one and that we are all one. And and the 10 is really a complete number. It's the Yud in the Jewish alphabet. Is the Yud is the 10th number, and it's the first letter of the name of Hashem. Yud Kei Vav Kei is the first letter in His name, the never-ending name of God. And it's written as a dot if you look at it in the alphabet. And what it means is it's an unifying point that fuses everything with Hashem. So the Maharal of Prague, he used to say, all of the mitzvahs that God commands us on Yom Kippur and are designed to remove as much as possible a person's relationship to the physicality until he's completely like an angel. So everything we do in Yom Kippur really is to remove us from this world and to allow us to connect to Hashem in the higher realms. And this day we remove ourselves as much as possible from the material world. And as I said before, we don't wear leather shoes because leather shoes signify wealth, money, and that you are rich. No food, no drink. No marital relations, we don't have baths, we don't anoint ourselves with cream or perfume. It's a custom, some people wear white, and also we don't wear gold jewelry because this reminds God of the sin of the golden calf, which we were really forgiven on the 10th of Tishrei. After Moses pleading for 80 days and 80 nights up in the Mount Sinai with God that He should forgive us. So really Yom Kippur is a happy day. It's not a sad day. It's a day in which we feel happy because there's hope, because we know that as bad as we can be in life, there's always a way to clean ourselves and to renew ourselves. And Hashem, He really forgives us if we are really sincere, and He gives us always second chances. And the preparations for Yom Kippur are as important as Yom Kippur. So the day before Yom Kippur, Erev Yom Kippur on Friday, we should eat a lot. As we don't eat on Yom Kippur, that day we should be munching all day. We should be like every half an hour eating something. Some people have the custom to go to the mikvah and dip themselves in the mikvah. We give extra tzedakah. Some people go to the rabbi and they ask for lekach, which is a honey cake, and they ask for lekach. This way they go and they do like this to the rabbi or someone that you know, and he'll give them a honey cake, and that is so in the rest of the year you won't have to ask for anything for parnasa, that Hashem should send it to you. You should not ask for it. And we light the Yizkor candles, which is the memorial candles for those who have been departed, our parents that have been departed. And then we light our Shabbat lights, and the prayers are in the Machzor of Yom Kippur. And we also ask forgiveness to anybody that we have wronged. It's very important. And to Hashem. And then we go into a journey that is inward. And it's very interesting because we have that day, we're really connecting ourselves to our soul. And our soul has 5 different dimensions to it. And each dimension of our soul connects to a different level in the higher realms. So the first dimension of our soul, the lowest one, is called the nefesh. And the nefesh is the spirit, what we know, the spirit. And it's really the biological life. It's the instinctive part that we have. And this part of the soul dwells inside of the body. Then we have the ruach. And the ruach is the breath. And it's connected to the emotional part of our soul. It's also inside of the body. When a person passes away, these 2 parts of the soul stay in the tomb with the body until the day that Mashiach comes, and the bodies will be resurrected. And then there's the neshama, what we usually call as a soul, a neshama, And this one is encompassing, is around us, and it's the intellectual life force of the soul. Then we have another part of this soul, which is the Haya, which means life, and it's the transcendental life, and it's like a rope that connects us up to heaven, up to Hashem. And then we have the Yehida, which is the oneness, that this is the part that we come to connect to on Yom Kippur, and it's only on Yom Kippur. We don't have access to this part of our soul through the year, only on Yom Kippur, which is really our essence. And how do we do this? It's very interesting. On the 3 prayers of the day, through the week, which is Mariv, Shaharit, and Minha. Mariv is the night prayer. We connect to the Nefesh. Then on Shaharit in the morning, we connect to our Ruach. And in Minha, which is the afternoon prayer, we connect to the Neshama. And every day during the week, a person that is doing these prayers is like going up a stair, is connecting to these 3 dimensions of their soul. On Shabbat, on Rosh Chodesh, on the other holidays, we always have an extra prayer, which is called the Musaf prayer. In this Musaf prayer, we come to connect to the Haya, which is the life. And then only on Yom Kippur, in Ne'ilah, which is the last prayer, the last Amidah we do before Yom Kippur ends, when the heavens are open, that at that moment we are able to connect to our Yehida, to that godly part of ourselves, that essence that is really up in heaven, and it has never come down here, and it has never been stained, and we're able to connect to that part of ourselves. So I really recommend you that you buy a Maxor. If you don't have a Maxor, it's called the Maxor for Yom Kippur, and have your personal Maxor. And if you're in the synagogue, it's preferable that you do these prayers there. But if it happens to be that you're home, you're taking care of your kids, you can go to shul, have your Maxor with you, and do these 5 Amidas at the times in which they're being done in your synagogue, so you can really access that part of yourself, which is the Yehida, or as we know it, the Holy of Holies, which is the deepest part of ourselves. In the times of the temple, the Kohen Gadol used to go into the Kodesh HaKodashim, which was the Holy of Holies, the part where the Luchot, where the 10 Commandments were stored, and he would go in there. He could only go on Yom Kippur. He would be dressed in white linen, and he would be he would have a rope around his waist, and people outside of the Holy of Holies would grab to that rope, because nobody could go in there, they would die. And he had to go in there and plead for the whole community that they should be forgiven. But if he had another intention, or he was thinking about something else, he would die. And the only way that they could take him out of the Holy of Holies was if people would pull the rope and take him out of there. So this is what it's compared to today in our days. In the Ne'ilah prayer, it's really such a profound prayer that it's a moment in which we really are touching that part of ourselves, that Holy of Holies inside of ourselves. We should really be at that moment with pure thoughts and with good feelings and happy, and we should really ask Hashem for anything we need. Yom Kippur is a day to ask. Rosh Hashanah, we should not be asking anything. It's a very serious day. But Yom Kippur is the day in which our Father, our King, is there waiting for us to ask for anything we need. Really, He wants to give it to us. So the Shaloch, which was a 16th century sage, he used to say that there is no higher experience for the Jew as when he acknowledges the oneness of God and his readiness to give his entire life to God. So this is what we do in Yom Kippur. This is what it's all about. It's about acknowledging that we're one with God, that everything in life is Hashem. And there's a beautiful joke that I remember that someone told me many years ago, which is a sad joke in a way, because it's this lady that is dreaming of meeting God, And she has in her dreams, she's asking to meet God. She wants to meet God. She wants to invite him to her house. She wants to feed him. And one day she dreams that God tells her, you know what, I'm coming such a day to your house. So she prepares the house, she cleans it, she takes out all her silverware, she polishes it, she makes delicious food, she sets a beautiful table like for a king. Suddenly, when she's in the middle of the preparation, she hears a knock on her door, and it's the neighbor. Can you lend me your hammer? And she tells him, can't you see I'm busy? I cannot lend you anything right now. I can't, don't bother me. And then half an hour later, a little boy from the school with the chocolates comes and he knocks on the door and he says, can you buy us some chocolates? It's for this fundraising we're doing for the blind kids in our school. And she says, don't bother me. I'm very busy right now. I can't help you. And then a pauper comes, a very poor person, a homeless man comes and he knocks on the door and it's pouring outside and he's all wet. And he's freezing and he tells her, lady, I'm so cold, can you spare some soup? Can you give me a coat? I can't handle this cold. Oh, don't bother me, don't bother me. Don't you see I'm busy? And it goes on and on and on, and suddenly it's really, really late and Hashem never came. So she goes to sleep. She's so sad, so depressed. And in her dream, she's dreaming and she's telling God, God, I made all this fancy dinner for you. I made my house beautiful for you. I was waiting for you. Where were you? You didn't come. And Hashem says to her, I did come. I was the neighbor that came to ask for the hammer. I was a little boy with the chocolates that came to ask for a donation. I was the pauper, the homeless man that came that was hungry and freezing. I came to you, but you never had time for me. So what Yom Kippur is telling us is that Hashem is everywhere. Hashem is in everything. And we just have to open our eyes and see it. Every situation we're put in our lives, Hashem is running it for us. He's part of it. And our job in this world really is to reveal God in this world, is to find Him. It's a peekaboo game. He's hiding and we're looking for Him. And we have to try to make Him relevant to the world. So the 10th of Tishrei is the date that Moses came down with the second luchot, with the second set of tablets, after he broke the first ones, and after the sin of the ha'egel, of the golden calf. And it's the day in which Hashem forgave the Jewish people for the sin of the golden calf. And the question is, what was the sin? What was it so bad? Why did God get so upset? Why? So the problem of the Jewish people and why they sinned is what it was because they failed to realize that Yiddishkeit is about connecting to God. Everything is designed so we can connect to Hashem. So when they saw that Moshe Rabbeinu was not coming down off the mountain because they did miscalculations, they miscalculated by a few hours and they got desperate, what did they do? They went and did a golden calf so they could worship it. What does this mean? Hashem said, you can only pray to me. You don't need a golden calf, but you cannot confuse it thinking that this is the force that is going to give you good luck. This is the force that is going to protect you. No, the one that gives you good luck is Hashem. The one that protects you is Hashem. So what Hashem was upset about is that Moshe Rabbeinu, he's his shliach, he's his intermediary. He's there to help them connect to Hashem. But Moshe Rabbeinu is not God. And the mitzvot are not God. Sometimes people confuse it. And they get attached to certain things thinking, oh, this is what's going to save me. So they give a lot of tzedakah saying, okay, this is what's going to save me. What's going to save them is Hashem. So the mitzvah in itself is the ends to a mean. It's the means to an end. It's so you can connect to Hashem. It's the connection. It's like your iPhone. When you're calling somebody through your iPhone, the iPhone is not the one that's talking to you. It's the intermediary so you can talk to your mom. But you really want to talk to your mom. You don't want to talk to your iPhone. So Hashem wants a relationship with us. That's what He really wants from us. And the mitzvahs are the means to achieve that. Even Moshe Rabbeinu, who had reached the level of a half-godly human being, served only as an intermediary, and he was not really Hashem. So the Rebbe or the mitzvah are only there to help us connect to Hashem. That's their whole job. A good rabbi that inspires you, that teaches you, that shows you the way. He's there to help you connect to Hashem. But the end goal is God. He's the boss, not the rabbi. So the focal point then, when we make it, that it's the Rebbe, or it's the mitzvah, or it's the segula, or this thing that we make, that's not the focal point. That becomes idol worship, and we lose it. We lose the reason and the meaning of being Jewish. So there's two ways to live our lives, my friends. Either we do what we want, and it's about me, or we do what Hashem wants from us, and then we have a relationship with Him. When you do Hashem's will, you make Hashem's will your will, He will make His will your will. Why? Because it's one and the same. When we keep Hashem's Torah and we keep His mitzvahs, we're holy people, we're uniting people, we're kind people, we're loving people, and we're just good people, good Jews. Then we are really having a relationship with God. And this is what He really wants from us. He wants a relationship. So He creates a whole system in which we're able to connect to Him in a loving way. And where a Baal Tshuva stands, a tzaddik cannot stand. Why? Because a Baal Tshuva is a person, a returnee, a person that does teshuvah is a person that puts himself aside for the will of God. He doesn't go around in a bikini anymore. Why? Because this is not the proper way for a Jew to go around in the street with a bikini. So he doesn't do it because he feels comfortable, because he likes it. No, he does it because this is what Hashem wants from me. So in the same way with other relationships, when you do for another person what they like, that means that you really love them, because you're doing what makes them happy, not what makes you happy. So in God's perspective, we have a big potential, and we're in this world to make a dwelling place for Him, to make a place where He can feel comfortable. And this is the way we make it. So our job in this world is to transform evil into good and the failure into achievement. And to be able to do that, we have to pray to Avinu Malkeinu, our Father in heaven, that He should seal us for a good year with good life, with a good health and abundance, material, spiritual, children, shidduchim for those who need to get married, health for those who need health, everything that you need. So don't forget, in Shul, this Shabbat, this Saturday of Yom Kippur, don't forget to ask your King, your Father in heaven. Don't forget, He's waiting for you. And I wish you a Gemar Hatima Tova, and also an easy fast, and live a little higher. Thank you.